Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Welcome to the KillJoy Jake YouTube channel, where we're always talking horror around this page, all kind of horror and slasher movies and all that fun stuff. So thank you for joining us. Please like the stream if you're watching this on replay and subscribe, because that would be pretty dang cool. It would help out the page quite a bit. And we're also trying to hit 40,000 subs maybe before the end of the year. It's a long shot, but it could happen. You never know. Anything could happen, ladies and gentlemen, and that's something that I love. But something else I'll say, we're doing a Scream 7 theory stream today, and it's a perfect time to do it because that Scream 7 trailer is dropping maybe this Thursday. We've all been, we've all had our theories about when it's going to drop out. We've had about 100 people say different dates, pretty much every date from August to now. And now it seems like we actually have a little bit of credibility of something dropping this Thursday. Pretty much every source of mine is pointing towards that. So I don't want to get everybody's hopes up and excited, but old Jake is really speculating we're probably going to get something this week. It's crazy, and I'm really excited. Cannot wait for it. I'm getting sick, as you can hear. So it's probably the worst time for something like this to happen, but that's the cards the universe has dealt. So I'm staying positive, and I'm awfully excited, ladies and gentlemen. I can't wait. I can't wait to finally see some new footage. So if that is that this week, then of course your boy's going to be covering it. It is going to be a very fun, very, very, very fun Halloween. And it's funny, I was setting up streams for the week today. I didn't go live yesterday, just figuring out what I was going to do this week, essentially, because I'm doing some really fun events for Halloween outside of all of this. And I decided, I'm like, I need to do something Thursday. What do I do? What do I talk about? And I'm like, well, I guess we'll talk about Scream 7 theory predictions. And then an hour later, I'm not even kidding, ladies and gentlemen. A few people hit me up and they're like, I think it's coming out Thursday. And I'm looking around, I'm searching, scouting the internet as I do, and I honestly think it's going to happen this Thursday, which is crazy. So, in the zeitgeist, I guess, just in the right mentality of when it's all going to hit. So I'm really excited. Cody's saying, no offense, Jake, you need to shave the beard. I like the beard, man. I'm thinking I'm going to cut my hair and then just keep the beard going. I want like a Gandalf beard. I want to look like a horror wizard. That's kind of I think I'm going to change the name of the channel to Horror Wizard at some point. No one steal that. I claimed it. But anyways, it's wonderful to see so many of you hanging out with us out here. We got Andy Weber saying, can't wait to see it. I'm a big fan of yours. I'm a big fan of you, Andy. Thank you for being here. Handy Andy. King Matthew III is saying, how are you doing today? My prediction for the release date of the Scream 7 teaser is maybe it's on Halloween. It sounds like it's going to be the day before, my friend. Like I said, if anything is for sure, I 100% think it's going to happen before The Running Man drops in November. Paramount is going to be promoting that movie before the horror, with the horror flick that kind of comes out beforehand. It's a rated R movie. It's going to be advertising the next rated R thing from Paramount, which is Scream 6. It just makes a lot of sense. And I talked about this with somebody on TikTok just now, but I'll say it to you guys as well. I got a death threat for making that suggestion and had to block somebody back in September for suggesting that it would come out in November rather than in September. So that's wonderful. But, it wouldn't be covering a Scream movie if I didn't get a death threat. So honestly, it feels like we're right back at home. It's nostalgic in a way. For both Screams 5 and 6, I got death threats for totally different things. So, we're getting that one out of the way early with Scream 7. So I love it, man. Jake, that's crazy, bro. Oh, listen, I'm so used to crazy at this point, man. It doesn't even faze me anymore. I'm just like, oh yeah, a Scream fan sending me a death threat. That's just Tuesday, baby. Let's go, baby. So whatever, man. People are crazy, but you can't win them all, but you definitely can have fun. Damn it. But anyways, flipping, the mood's kind of down now. I apologize about that. Let's bring it back up. Fun thing, I want to hear what you guys want to see in the Scream 7 trailer. We're going to do another stream just like this on Thursday, actually talking about the trailer now. But today, what do you guys want to see in the Scream 7 trailer? What's going to be too much for you? What's going to be too little? What are you hoping gets clarified in this new trailer? Because I know I have a lot of different things. Lots of things I want to see happen. I want to be proven wrong about a lot of my worries that I have about about Scream 7. I'm really hoping the trailer can do that for me without spoiling too much. That's a lot of big things that I want. I do want to see some stuff. I don't want everything ruined, but there's some things that I want to see in action in this trailer. I want to get a little taste of something because I have my doubts about some things. I'm worried about some things that are being handled with this film. It's a movie that went through a few rewrites and changes and just a lot of shakeup behind the scenes. I want my faith to be reaffirmed in Scream because I'm worried. It's been a weird couple of years covering Scream stuff, and I want to feel confident in this movie again, and I'm hoping a trailer can do that. But anyways, let's get to it. What are y'all talking about? Let's get into it. The Film Fanatic is saying, have you seen the Scream 7 teaser advert for Reese's? Yes, I did a whole video on that a little while ago, and if you didn't see it, I genuinely go watch it. I think one of my funniest bits ever is in that video, and I'm very proud of it. I don't even care. It's the dumbest little video, but I'm so proud of my little joke that I got in there. And you'll know what it is. If you're like, well, what is it? You'll know. Trust me. Christopher is saying, you made it when you're getting death threats. You're right, Christopher. Unfortunately, you're right. It's pros and cons, baby. Pros and cons. Cody's saying it's funny they can do death threats, but in real life they wouldn't say it to your face, Jake. That's the internet for you. It gives you a false sense of See, you can't get punched in the face for saying stupid shit on the internet, which is why people say stupid shit on the internet, and it's unfortunate. It's why I heavily advise you disconnect every now and then, dude. I need to do it more myself, if I'm being honest. Hopefully, I'm able to take off next week, but I think once the Scream stuff starts, it ain't gonna stop. So if everything goes according to plan, which I don't think it is where I'm sitting, I was gonna take next week off, but it seems like they're kicking the Scream stuff off way earlier than I thought. So at some point I am gonna take some. I need some time off. It's been nonstop for old Jake. I can't complain. I'm very thankful for everything, but I need to step away from everything. I need to disconnect. I need to touch grass, guys. I don't even remember what color grass is anymore. So at some point I need to go outside and make that happen. But in the meantime, it's going to be Scream Central around here for a little while. I even got the hoodie to christen it, baby. Oh yeah, christening in blood. That's got to be like a Cannibal Corpse song or something, right? Love this, baby. Love this. Horror Paradise. That's where I want to be 24/7. What's up, Horror Paradise? Jake, Scream 2's opening is iconic. It so is. The D'Angelo is also why. The second his Prince cover starts over the logo, you know what you're seeing, and the mood is set. He's immortalized in Horror 2. Rest in peace. I fucking love everything about that opening scene. I think it is excellent. I think it's such a meta, even more meta somehow take on the original film's opening. I was just talking about it on the Lethal Collective stream last night. That's my favorite opening from the franchise. I think, the Casey Becker death is objectively like the best, but what's my personal favorite opening? Probably 2 or 6. Like one of those movies openings, does it for me. It's really interesting stuff. I love the creativeness of both of those sequences. What's terrifying about that one is, like the atmosphere, like you're talking about. So late 90s, so fun, such a vibe. But also, I just feel like it's super creative to have, Maureen Evans. Not Maureen Prescott. Maureen Evans getting stabbed, and everyone just kind of thinks she's doing a bit, And I think that's just so terrifying and also kind of darkly funny in a way. I love it. I don't know. I think it's just a really interesting way to open up a Scream movie. It's great stuff. It's really great stuff. So I've always loved the opening of Scream 2 as well. I think it's excellent. I think it's without a doubt one of maybe my favorite opening scene for a Scream movie. The threat did not happen on a live stream. Someone sent me a DM. It's whatever. I don't care. I could care less. I think it's funny. It's clearly some teenager or something who's just excited about Scream, wants to see the trailer early, wanted to see it back in September and didn't. I even had to block that fella. I had to block another fella. I mean, it's outrageous how Scream brings out emotions in people that I think they wouldn't act on in real life. Is my point. I don't think I don't feel threatened by someone who has, who's clearly just a fan and just wants to get their way. That's all it is. I think it's funny more than anything. I guess tell me I'm not taking it serious or whatever, but it's whatever, dude. It's people just suck. Joe Bamba is saying trailer is just a black screen. We hear someone say, I will get my revenge for Mark leaving the toilet seat up. So Sydney's the killer. I can understand that motive. My fiance puts on a ghost face mask every time I do that, and she comes into the room and tries to get me. She at least gives me a phone call warning beforehand, though. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that, fellas. If you're listening, like, can we pause the stream just for a second? Seriously, dudes, don't leave the toilet seat up. Seriously, like nothing will piss someone off more than that. So put it down. Hashtag put down the toilet seat. Just remember, or pee sitting down. There's nothing wrong with that. Someone's gonna be mad about that. Someone's gonna be mad about that comment. Anyways, let's get to this. Robert Englund gets his Hollywood Star Friday, says Samantha Robinson. That's really exciting. I love that. So deserved. He's Freddy Krueger, baby. Come on now. He deserves it. Love to see that for Robert, though. That's great. Who else saw that video of John Carpenter shitting on the substance? How about them apples, right? That's crazy. I saw that video and I'm just like, classic John Carpenter, man. He's a hater. Like, you guys don't I think for that. He doesn't give a fuck. Like, if he hates something, he's going to tell you about it straight up, and he doesn't need to explain why. He's John Carpenter. And although I loved the substance, I thought it was great. I do think it's really funny that John Carpenter just blatantly is just like, this, everything about it sucks. What did I like about it? 0. And I'm just like, oh shit. Okay, man. Damn, dude. But hey, we love John. But John's great. Robert Englund, also great, though. We're talking about icons here, baby. Some very good stuff. John's like, I forgot that. John Best is saying John Carpenter has no filter. Dude, there's a video. My favorite John Carpenter video of all time is he's at some sort of con just like this. Like, this is also where this video came from. But someone gets up on the mic or whatever and asks him, saying, like, what happened with Escape from LA? And I just remember he does this, like this motion, up yours, buddy, or something like that to him. And I'm just like, oh my God, like John Carpenter's out here fucking sizzling people like to ash. Oh my God, do not mess with John. He will fuck you up. It just cracks me up. I love John. I love him. I don't agree with him, but I respect him. You know, it's kind of one of those things. Michael Roof, thanks for being a channel member, dude. You're saying married guy here. Anyone who's had a wife fall in, seat always down. Yes, no, truly. For those of you who have, who aren't experienced, who may not know, it's just it's very good advice. Just always put the toilet seat down. Just always do it. Get in the habit, make it happen. Film Fanatic is saying Jake gets cast. Get Jake cast in Terrifier 4. Get the petition started. That would be awesome. Just get that. Just keep throwing that hashtag out there. Make it happen. Let's see what happens. Jordan Curley is also with us saying, hey, Jake, I'm hoping to see Shelby Oaks on Thursday. Is it scary? Hopefully not too scary. Dude, I fucking suck. I haven't seen it yet. I'm so bummed. I've been like, I meant to go out this past weekend. I want to support it in some way, shape, or form. It is still in theaters, and I'm absolutely getting to it at some point this week. I literally, the only way I was able to see a movie the past couple of days is because I went to like a midnight showing and I was exhausted the whole time. But I did get to see Dream Eater, which I had a little limited window to see that one, which is why I prioritized it. That was really good. That was from Eli Roth's new company, the film, the film section. I had a good time with that. Like, if you haven't seen that one yet, I highly recommend it. Dream Eater rocked. It's a really good, like, paranormal activity inspired found footage flick, but it's got a different thing going on. A little bit of a Lovecraftian twist to it, which I thought was fun. But if you like that, the Blair Witch Project, it's got a little bit of that energy to it, but it is definitely doing its own thing. I had a really good time. It's probably my favorite release so far from that company. So I'm excited to see what they do next. And I'm, of course, staying open-minded, all the crazy horrors that they're going to throw out there. Michael Rue loved this too, man. He's saying Jekyll. Who the fuck is that? Jake and Rhea Ripley as an opening couple kill in Terrifier 4. Oh my God, sign me up, dude. Oh man, I'll do that in a heartbeat. That'd be awesome. John Best is saying, I'm going to eat. You're going to eat making hockey? Huh? You're going to eat some hockey masks later? I'm going to eat making hockey masks again after taking a 15-year break. I'm going to be making hockey masks again. Oh, okay. I'm like, Listen, if you want to eat hockey masks in your spare time, I won't judge you, my friend. But I might actually, I might judge you a little bit. I'm kidding. No, that's great though. That's awesome. You're gonna make some Jason masks essentially. That's kind of sick. You can't really see it too well, but I do have somebody sent this in when I had a PO box, which I thought was so cool. They sent me like a Jason mask with my colors on it, and I don't know if you can see it very well. I should probably go get it, but I'll totally ruin my set. But it's fucking sick. And it's always going to live on the set because I just think it's so cool. Love it to death. Gory Tiger's also with us. What's up, Gory Tiger? Yo, yo, yo. Welcome in. Keep that tiger gory, baby. Dave Sim is saying, meowdy, Erica. VHS Halloween messed me up, says John Best. I freaking loved VHS Halloween, dude. In love with that film. I'm here for more. Here for more VHS. They better make a 9 or I'm going to be upset. If anyone in the chat has seen Shelby Oaks, let me know. Jordan wants a review. I'm gonna see it sometime this week, and I have I'm doing a new. So this is something I want to run by the chat too today. Something I wanted to get into. I'm struggling to get views or any sort of traction on review videos on this page. Like unless I see them early, no one watches them, and I lose subscribers from doing it. There was a review I did a couple of months ago that actually made me stop. Like, you might have noticed there haven't been as many reviews on the page lately. I've just been making them members only videos. I posted a review for a new movie, spent a lot of time on it. I lost 2 subscribers and I got less than like 1,000 views, which my average is like about 3,000. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. If I don't have Scream or Terrifier in the title, no one watches it. So I'm thinking about doing a big video at the end of every month where I just sum up, like, just kind of rank all the movies I saw in the previous month of new releases, opposed to just doing individual videos on everything. Unfortunately, it's just kind of what I've come to with it. I don't know. It doesn't seem like people really want to see that from old Jake. So I still want to cover movies because that's why I'm doing all this in the first place. But we'll see. We'll see what's up. We'll see about that. Let me know your thoughts on that if that's a cool idea. Because there's so many movies I've only done like little shorts on that got released this month that I'd love to talk a little more on. So let me know if that's something you're interested in. I might post that sometime later on this week. Dave Sin is saying, Jake, I know this is a Scream stream, but can you elaborate a bit more on your Dream Eater review? People are saying it's the scariest movie of the year. Would you agree? It's not the scariest movie of the year, but it's got some great jump scares in it. If you like found footage, if you like jump scares, if you like, something popping out at you and saying boo, essentially, like that, this movie does that really well. I think, again, Paranormal Activity is such a great thing to compare this to. You get a lot of scares that are very similar to that. I think it actually executes some jump scares you probably haven't seen before, which is really cool. And I was blown away by it. I was kind of impressed. I was like, okay, there's a lot of tropes and familiar things about it, but there are some really shocking moments that get under your skin. The last 15 minutes of the movie, as Eli Roth promised, are very scary. I was pretty blown away by all that. So there's a lot to love, man. There really is a lot to love about Dream Eater. Again, if you like found footage horror, give it a watch. Really solid stuff. Erica's throwing $2 out there. Erica, thank you for the support. So much love. You're also saying, Jake, I love your hoodie. That means a lot. This is a Scream 6 hoodie, by the way. We were just at Walmart like 6 months ago. And I'm just like walking around and I just see a Ghostface hoodie and I'm like, oh, that looks cool. But then this is why I bought it. And I'm not even kidding. Can you see it? It actually, like the Scream, this is a Scream 6 hoodie, not a Scream hoodie, Scream 6, baby. And I just thought that was really cool. Like I feel like there's not a lot of Scream 6 hoodies out there specifically. There's Scream hoodies, sure, but like Scream 6 in particular. So I'm like, rock on, baby. I love Scream 6, as you guys know. I don't think it's a perfect film, but I'm a defender of it. I think it's a lot of fun. Anyways, you're also saying, let's get this super chat thing going. Appreciate the support there, Erica. Means a lot. If we get 9 more at this point, we will go for another hour. We'll keep talking Scream. I know we've been talking general horror stuff, but we will get into Scream, I promise. So Erica, thank you so much for the support. Really does mean a lot. And I'm excited for this trailer whenever it does end up coming up. So excited to get into it. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Film Fanatic is saying, I think when they parody Longlegs in Scary Movie 6, I think they should get Nick Cage's character, I've forgotten his name, Dale Cobble. The guy with the long legs. They should give him long legs. A genius. Write that down. No, that actually would be funny though. I mean, like if he's too tall, to walk into frame. It's kind of like that Naked Gun joke, if you know what I'm talking. If you've seen the Naked Gun movies, they do that in like every every movie where there's like a cop who's too tall to be into frame. That would be pretty good. I'd be down for that. That feels very Scary Movie to me as well. Gina's also with us. What's up, my chunky Jordy? How's it hanging? Welcome in. Richard J. Skorenki is saying, question, Jake, do you watch horror movies any other month besides October? No, I'm not a horror fan at all. No, I'm just kidding. No, yes, it's most of what I watch, if I'm being honest. Thankfully, my fiance makes me watch things that aren't horror because I do like watching non-horror flicks too. But most of what I watch is typically horror. I also really like animated stuff. Really big fan of just animated series and shows, movies, all that really fun stuff. Feel like there's a lot of stuff you can do in animation that you can't do in live action, or that would be extremely challenging to do in live action. So I think that's kind of why I've been drawn to a lot of that stuff. I love Studio Ghibli movies. Like those are probably some of my favorite, like just kids movies in general. I fucking love those. But horror is really my main attraction. Which, by the way, guys. Who's seen the... I don't want to spoil it, so I won't give a full review or nothing, but have you guys seen the It Welcome to Derry episode 1? I'm blown away. Like, listen, I loved Alien Earth. Like, Alien Earth was really good. It's a really solid, interesting series with some weird little hiccups here and there, but dude, Welcome to Derry is off to a phenomenal and shockingly very good start. Did not think I would like it as much as I do. The trailers and a lot of the marketing kind of made it look a little more made for TV, which was like, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. But I'm blown away. I think the CGI in that episode beats everything that we saw in Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. Andy Muschietti is on it, dude. I mean, he is like, fuck everybody who didn't like The Flash. We're doing this shit right now. And I got a lot of respect for him, man. He brought his A game to this series. It's very good if you guys haven't seen it so far. It's off to a very, very solid start. We haven't seen the whole season yet, so I can't say it's the best TV show of the year or anything like that. But it's where my expectations are now after episode 1. That blew my mind. Great writing, great effects. I don't know. My expectations were like 5 out of 10, if I'm being honest. I love it, but I just didn't expect that transition to a television series to be great. Just like in my humble opinion with like the Chucky TV series, there's been a lot of horror television shows that I just haven't been crazy about. Chucky is like the one that comes to mind when I think about horror TV shows that I feel like didn't translate well to the small screen. It like absolutely is working for me very much so far. And Pennywise hasn't even shown up yet. We haven't even gotten to Pennywise. We've gotten other versions of the monster, but we haven't gotten Pennywise quite yet. And man, I'll tell you what, I don't know. For me to have such a strong start without what is your main attraction villain, technically, I'm beyond blown away. So guys, give it a watch if you can. It's really good stuff. Favorite non-horror movie? Mine is Clerks, says Michael. Great choice. Clerks is awesome. Favorite non-horror movie? Fuck, that's really tough, dude. There's a lot of good movies out there. The Matrix is a horror movie, so I'm not going to say that. That's my favorite movie of all time. Matrix is number 1, baby. I love Spirited Away. We were talking about Studio Ghibli movies. That's probably my favorite, like, animated film. I love it. Some great stuff. I feel like Sheriff Judy right now. I like musicals and animated films. I love that line. Cracks me up every time I hear it. I'm going to say Spirited Away. I think that movie's brilliant. It's amazing. What do you think is the scariest scene in Jordan Peele's Nope, says Mike? Easily the scene where all the people get sucked up into the spaceship and they're all like getting digested by the creature or whatever. That is horror. Dude, I was like literally gripping my seat in the theater during that sequence. Because up until that point, it's really not too scary. The opening scene is terrifying, but and there's a little, you know what? I lied. There's some scary stuff before that, but that is like, holy shit, that is the scariest part of that whole film for me. The fake out alien sequence is pretty spooky too. I forgot about that, but yeah, dude, that movie rocks. Oh my god, I love the Nope. Blew my mind. I need to give that another watch. It's been a minute. I bought that. I watched it two more times because I showed my mom that movie, interestingly enough. But I have not revisited it recently, and I need to. That's a really good one. No spoilers, but if they reshot the end of the first episode in some sort of way, I'll be a little sad because it was fun. Oh, if they recut it, no, they can't. They made a statement, and again, no spoilers, but the ending of that first episode was a big statement, and that tells us I think we're in for something really special here. Jake, on the collective stream, you mentioned Wes Craven's Cursed, and I remember that Steven said there's an unrated version that he loved. I've never seen any other cut of the movie. I remember I posted a review of that. I was pretty negative because it's just, it's a very, from the version I saw, which is the public release, whatever, theatrical release of the movie, I just think it's really messy. It's way too long. It's messy. It's all over the place. It's got a great cast though, and it's shot in a very similar way to Scream, has that same vibe to it, but you can tell the studio was meddling with it a little bit. So I really wasn't crazy about it. I gave it a really kind of nasty review. But I am mad, like, honestly, just, I will say, even watching that movie for the first time, I could tell there's a better version of that film. If you cut some things out, if you tighten that up a little bit, cut the fat off of it, it could turn into something really special. But it's just, as it stands, it's a rough movie with a very predictable twist, and I can't love it. I want to love it because I love Wes Craven and I love Kevin Williamson, and it's cool to see them reteam to do like another style of murder mystery, you know, that's a little more getting into some like werewolf action, which is fun. But it really did not work for me, and it kind of bums me out because dude, the cast is phenomenal. Jesse Eisenberg, Judy Greer. There's more people, but those are the only two I can think of. But apparently there is some sort of unrated version that's way better. Who else is in that? Christina Ricci, I forgot about that. Patrick Lussier, is he in that movie? I don't remember. Shannon Elizabeth, Joshua Jackson. Yeah, there's a ton of people in this movie, dude. Portia de Rossi is also, I forgot. Yeah, she's in this too. Scott Baio. There's a lot of big names, guys, if you haven't seen this. If you're a Scream fan, you got to watch it. I think it's totally worth a watch. But like I said, like 15 minutes needs to be cut out of this movie. It's way too long. Really messy. And you'll guess the twist in the first like 30 minutes. It's kind of unfortunate. I don't know. I think that it's a movie that could have been great. And I actually think about it a lot because I'm like, man, that actually could have been really, really sick as fuck. And Rick Baker, yeah, this is another really good point to make about the movie. Rick Baker worked on it a little bit. They fired him, which is like that's a sin, dude. You're gonna have Rick Baker on for a werewolf movie and fire him. That's crazy. I don't know about that, man. But yeah, there's a lot of things wrong with it. That's really unfortunate, but it is interesting, and I would love to see a different cut of it for sure. To Damn is saying, anyone from Connecticut, I have family there. Any Connecticut folks out there, let us know. Let us know, Connecticut. Richard J. Skranky is saying it's great that Halloween falls on a Friday this year. That way we can celebrate Halloween all weekend long, which is how I'm going to vibe it. Oh, you know it, baby. It's going to be Halloween just all throughout the weekend. It's been Halloween all month for me, though. I don't even care. Someone actually left me a nasty comment saying, it's not the Halloween season, bro. That's just on Friday. And I'm like, listen, buddy. It's spooky season here year round, but like it's especially scary Halloween season from like August to October, baby. Okay. That's when that's when the algorithm will actually promote horror content. So screw off with all that. Okay, buddy. It's Halloween season right now and no one can stop that. Well, until November 1st kicks in and the Christmas music starts playing at the Walmart. That's when I start getting upset because that means the dream is over for a little while, but that's okay. If you haven't seen The Skulls with Joshua Jackson, definitely recommend. I've not even heard of that. The Skulls. Is it about evil flying skulls? We don't have enough movies about evil flying skulls. I want that. I'm going to be celebrating Halloween online since my neighborhood sucks. I'm sorry, Erica. That's no fun. We will have a lot of fun festivities here on the page for Halloween, by the way. So from 5 to 7, we're going to be doing a Halloween movie tier list. So we're going to be doing a tier list of a ton of different Halloween themed horrors. You might even see some Scream movies on there. Who knows? And, later that night at like 7:30, we're going to be playing Repo, which is a game that is really fun to play over on the gaming channel. Had a lot of love on those streams in the past. There's a brand new Halloween themed update that's coming the day before. So you're going to see some Repo streams on the gaming channel this week, which is really going to be fun. I haven't played it in a little while, and I'm dying because it's a really fun game. Dying to play it. There's a brand new monster that they're introducing into the game at the end of the week, and we're going to fight him. We're going to get in that game and we're going to fight them on Friday. So definitely stop by for both of those streams. We're celebrating hard. It's going to be fun. Tadam is saying, where else is Halloween widely and officially celebrated besides the US and Canada? I want to say like there's a little bit of it in some of the first world countries that have adopted some like big, American celebrations. You have that in some of the other first world countries out there for sure. But yeah, it's mostly just it is mostly just here, let's be honest. But it's still fun. I think it's a fun holiday. I think it's great. Kids get free candy. I mean, that's awesome. Why would people look at that and say that sucks? Free candy is always a good thing. Free handouts are a good thing. I don't care what anyone says. The Film Fanatic is saying, besides from Trick or Treat 2, which horror film would you like to get a sequel? I would love to see Killer Clowns from Outer Space finally get some sort of continuation. I think it's it should have been a franchise. That would have been a ton of fun to see more from that. What's another like just standalone that should have a sequel? I'll tell you what, I have some duologies that I really want more from. The Collector franchise. I really want to see Collector 3 happen one of these days. That was something we talked about on the page a long time ago. Just haven't had a whole lot of updates on it though. Love the Collector movies. I would definitely love a third one. If we can get that to happen, especially because they tried to shoot a third one, but they got ghosted by the producers, Marcus Dunstan and Patrick Melton, the creators of that series, like halfway through filming it. So they never got it done, which is a major shame because I would have loved to have seen where the franchise would have gone next. That would have been fun, man. That would have been dope. DJ Plays Favorites is saying Night of the Creeps Part 2 or The Children from 1980. The Children? I've never heard of The Children before. Evil Kids is scary, man. I love that shit. What is oh man, I'm totally Village of the Damned. I love that movie. The John Carpenter one is a major banger. Really enjoyed that one. Halloween has never really been celebrated where I live. We used to do penny for the lantern with hollowed out turnips. I used to make a fortune. It's more celebrated now, but you don't hear like your door going off. Oh, okay. I got you. It's weird. I've always lived somewhere where they did like an annual trick or treating. Sometimes it would be not on Halloween, which was weird. But we always did. Yeah, I've always lived somewhere where trick or treating was a thing. So it's like get your freaking candy. Make sure you have something, or kids are gonna TP your house. I got TP'd, but it wasn't for Halloween. What was that? It was like something for high school, some kind of high school event. My house got TP'd. I remember having to clean it up. That sucks, dude. If you guys ever got your, is that still a thing? Do the kids still do that, or am I just old now? Because we used to throw toilet paper at people. I can admit to that online. It was a long time ago, so no one would even know what I'm talking about. That's some funny stuff, though. Tell you what, my house has been TP'd. I may have allegedly been involved in that with other people's houses. It was always fun. It was always a wild time. Jacob Wells is saying Scream 7 trailer might drop this Thursday. Yeah, we're talking all about it, Jacob. What do you want to see in the Scream 7 trailer? What do you want to see in that? Because I don't think I want to get too many big reveals. I don't want to see any of the cameos. I don't want to see Stu. I don't want to see Roman. I don't want to see David. I want to honestly, more than anything, I just want to see some kind of action between Sydney and some of the other characters. That's really what I want this to focus on. Really want to see just what's going on with our main characters. in Scream. That would be nice. I think most of the time when it comes to marketing a new movie, I just want to see like a little tease at something. I think the way that they marketed Scream 6, for instance, was great. They just initially gave us that scene where it was what was it, the Carpenter sisters, and I think Danny was there, where we're on the subway train. That was awesome for Scream 6, but I think for this one, I want something that's going to give me a little bit of faith, because I'm worried. We've been so concerned and so in the dark with a lot of things going on behind the scenes. We've covered it extensively about how there was firings, there was directors in places who dropped out, there was a whole massive rewrite. This was supposed to be a big Carpenter sister conclusion story, and now it's not that at all. And I'm worried that, they've just recycled that story and put Sidney Prescott into it because that was the only person they had. And wouldn't that suck? You know what I mean? Sidney deserves better than that. If you're going to do a Sidney story, I think you got to write out her own story and actually make that something. So I guess I'm worried that that's not the case, but I don't know. I think we'll be able to tell by watching a trailer, by watching, learning a little more from actual footage from the movie, how this thing is going to feel and vibe. And I'm dying to get that. I'm dying to see what that's going to be all about in the flick. I really want this to be a faithful Sidney story. You know what I mean? I really want this to be like, if you're going to go down that route, do it up. You know what I mean? Make this logical. Give me a reason to be following Sidney Prescott again, so that it doesn't just feel like we're trying to put butts in seats. Because that's just disrespectful at this point. Sidney's such a great character. I would hate for that arc to be ruined just because they wanted to make another movie and cash in on a popular IP. But anyways, we got Mike saying, is Evil Dead Burn taking place in the woods again? It's a really good question. We got a little bit of a teaser from that movie already, which is crazy. And that's, it kind of looks like it's a very quick 6-second thing, so we don't see too much, but it looks like somebody is smashing somebody over the head with something out in the woods. That's kind of what it looks like. So I'm guessing it's probably going to be a cabin set again. With Evil Dead Rise, we kind of took Evil Dead out of the cabin and into an apartment building, which was cool. And I vibed with that, but I think I am kind of yearning for something that is a little more familiar from Evil Dead Next. Going back to a desolate cabin somewhere, and we find a book in the basement or something. I just something a little bit like that. We got a tease of it in Evil Dead Rise, but I'm kind of excited to maybe do a little bit of a return to form with this next one. EN is saying, yo, Jake, just watched your video. I appreciate that. Are we really getting a Scream 7 trailer this week? Finally, greetings from Greece. I've seen a lot of people from Greece, by the way. Hello, Greece. How are y'all doing over there? Hopefully you're doing good. Hopefully you're vibing out in Greece. I want to go to Greece so bad. I had a trip planned to go to Greece that I had to cancel on last minute a long time ago. And so I've never been able to go, but I would love to. Looks gorgeous out there. But anyways, it sounds like we probably are. It is coming from a third-party source, but a lot of my people that I talk to regularly are saying yeah, it's probably going to be this Thursday. So I have hope, I have confidence that yes, it's probably going to be this week. Take that with a grain of salt, though, is what I'll say. Don't be 100%. Don't be like, well, KillJoy Jake said this. No, I'm saying that it may be this week. I have more confidence in it being this week than I did when it was this past September and everybody was saying it was this day, it was that day, it was the VMAs, it was Drew Barrymore is going to come out and it's going to be announced. No. No, I have faith that it could be this Thursday. So we'll see. It's exciting stuff, though. David Primero is saying, I want to see McKenna Grace in the Scream 7 trailer. She's been in all the movies recently. She really has. She's been everywhere, dude. McKenna Grace is unstoppable. She's in that Regretting You movie, which I haven't heard very good things about, but I will say something cool about it is that there's a ton of horror people in it. If it's Mason, I think his name is pronounced Thames, like the river, but I don't know. I actually heard McKenna Grace in an interview say Thames, and I thought that was wrong, but I don't know. I'm totally questioning myself. But Mason Thames? No, this is where the question mark comes in. I don't know. But he was in The Black Phone, and now he's in this. We have Allison Williams from Get Out and Megan in this movie as well. McKenna Grace from Scream 7 and Ghostbusters and a bunch of other horror movies and shit. If it's like the Conjuring franchise, if it's Dark Seed, she's in a bunch of stuff. Bad Seed, I mean. And there was somebody else that I'm totally forgetting. Dave Franco. Dave Franco's also in this from Together, which is cool. So lots of horror people coming together to make a rom-com, which I thought was funny. But I also want to see McKenna Grace in the trailer. I'm very much so thinking she could be one of our ghost faces, man. She fits the mold of what the casting director wants from an actor who can play both sides, play, you know, the innocent and hiding in plain sight thing, and then also a killer. We've seen her literally do that in different roles before in the past. So I think that would be interesting. I don't know. I'm into it. We'll see. There is not a Lethal Collective stream tonight, Samantha, but we will be live over on the gaming channel tonight. We're going to be hopefully finishing up RV There Yet. I don't know if we're close to the end, but we're going to see. We're going to see how far we get into it. So stop on by for that. That's going to be at 7 or maybe even a little later than that tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. The Film Fanatic is saying, do a trailer reaction for the Scream 7 trailer. My YouTube does not like trailer reactions on this page. I can't get them posted. Like, they just give me a big old X and they're like, no, don't repost trailers. And I'm like, I'm not reposting the trailer though. This is a reaction. It's different. My YouTube does not like that. But I will be doing a whole breakdown. I'll be talking about all the little things that I noticed about the trailer in a video that day. So definitely stop on by for that. I'll also have a breakdown live stream, just like what we're doing right now. We'll be talking about the trailer on that stream. So trust me, we'll be covering the fuck out of it. We will be ripping that thing to shreds. It's going to be fun. Marcus Badlam is saying, I need the movie trailer so bad. I've been waiting. Oh, I'm excited. Let me tell you, I'm excited to see what we see. I want to see some good things, man. I want to feel invested in this movie. If they marketed Scream 4 the way they did 5 and 6, we'd be on our 10th Scream movie by now. Probably, Michael, if we're being real here. They did little events for Scream 4, but just not enough, you know? 5 and 6, there was something every day, you know, to keep people just on Scream. On and excited about that movie. That was kind of the problem with 4 is they hosted some sort of, there's some panel at the VMAs or something, I think, where they debuted a trailer. Like, there's a bunch of little things like that, but like with Screams 5 and 6, man, they were doing everything. And I think in this world where we have, you know, so many things going on all over the place, there's not just like one big exciting thing on the horizon. There's a lot of things all the time. You have to be constantly putting stuff out there, or people are going to, you know, lose interest. They're going to fall to the wayside and get into something else. So with Scream 5 and 6, the marketing campaigns there, they were just going nonstop. It was like constantly, here's something, here's, you know, David Arquette's at an Airbnb. Check this out. There was all these crazy marketing spots. There was a TikTok. This girl, like, in universe was pretending to like go after the new Ghostface in Woodsboro. It was crazy, man. There was a lot of crazy tie-ins to Scream 5. That was a ton of fun. And I just feel like, you know, you didn't really have a lot of that with Scream 4. A lot of people blame the movie Rio for some reason for competing with a R-rated slasher film. I don't really understand that much. But but the problem was they just didn't market it as crazy. Pretty much since the internet has become a much bigger thing, it's just kind of, again, attention spans are everywhere. There's so many things to get excited about all the time. It's like if you're not constantly talking about something, you're not going to keep people's attention. It's just how it is these days. DJ Plays Favorites is saying, if Scream could do a trailer just like Welcome to Derry from last night's episode, they did a trailer for the episode. Do you need me to open that for you? Yeah, I gotcha. That was crisp. Can I take a sip?
I just checked my temperature.
Nope. Okay. We're both getting sick in here, ladies and gentlemen. It's rough. I did put my lips to that. Apologies.
I'm 99.5.
99.5. That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm feeling so like I got like a little bit of a headache and I got the snuffle. That's not a word.
I'm thinking it's just our sinuses.
Snifflies. The sniffly bits in my nose.
It'll cause pressure, therefore giving you a headache.
Dude, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it.
Because of the weather going up and down and up and down.
I love it. I love when the weather just can't make up its mind. It's a lot of fun. That's Ohio, baby. We love living in Ohio. It's great here. Oh, man. Anyways, let's get back to it. Jacob Wells is saying, imagine if the Scream 7 trailer starts with them, the introductions. What? It starts with them introducing us to Tatum, Sydney's daughter, with Stu Macher's song. He has a whole song? What? And then we get Stu's reveal, which is in the trailer description. No. No. I don't want any reveal. Look, if they're going to do that, I don't want to know about it in the trailer. Oh, man. No, I want to I don't want to see any of the cameos in the trailer, man. I don't want to see any of that personally. I'm down to see Tatum, Sydney's daughter. I'm down to see, what her whole thing is, and what's going on there. But man, I don't want to know anything about what they're doing with the new cast yet. I want to be able to pitch some theories in the meantime. They should have put Mason, I'm just gonna say it. Fuck it. Mason Thames in Scream 7 and have him and McKenna be the Ghostface. That would have been kind of cool. After being in a rom-com together, that would have been dope. That would have been kind of cool. Would that be like the same relationship though as like Amber and Richie, where it's kind of like they're a couple killing? Like, I don't know. I feel like we've kind of seen that. But hey, maybe they got a whole different thing going on. Who knows? EN is saying, personally, I'm torn. On one side, I desperately want to see some footage. On the other, I'm afraid they will reveal too much. Yeah, I definitely don't want them to reveal too much. Would not want that. But I want to see. I want to see enough to have faith in it. I'm worried. I don't want them to do my girl Sydney Prescott wrong. So definitely worried about that. Worried that they're cranking out a movie because they feel they have to. Alexander, while I think that's really sweet of you, I'm very anti-AI. AI is currently, ruining the film industry, really harming a lot of filmmakers, tech industry leaking into filmmaking. So I'm very anti-AI. I'm so sorry. I would advise that you don't use AI to make Scream pictures because I think that actually just using it in general does hurt the film world. I'm just very strongly against it. And if you love movies, you shouldn't use that technology. So that's what I'm going to say about that. But Alexander, thank you for being part of the stream, and we greatly appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out with us. But yeah, AI, don't use that. It hurts filmmakers. It hurts future Scream projects. You wouldn't want there to not be any new Scream movies, right? Any new Scream movies made by people, Blair Hathaway is saying, I have been sick the last few days. It's going around in Kansas. I think it's going around here too. Kansas and Ohio. It's brutal. It's that time of year though, right, Blair? It's cold outside. It's nasty. It's no fun. Oh, it's brutal. We got something. I don't even know where from, but I can feel it in my head. This is how I always feel right before I get a cold, and I'm just like, that sucks. I hope I don't lose my voice again though, because I have made y'all suffer through some videos where I'm talking like this. I'm just like Scream 7 nose, and it's horrible. God, I don't want to put y'all through that. Oh, man. Jacob Wells is saying you should listen to the Stumacher's Alive song. Oh, I have heard that. I know what you're talking about. Is that what you're saying? Is the Stumacher's Alive song? I've seen that video before. That's very funny. Michael Rue is saying a mind frick. We'll say that. In case the kids are watching, a mind frick would be a new Nightmare style reveal in the trailer. Kevin Williamson's A New Scream, a new Scream mirror, Freddy's Revenge. They should just subtitle Scream 7 Freddy's Revenge, just for no reason in particular. Just think it would be funny. Freddy Takes Manhattan. Let's call it that. No, I'm just kidding. Tadam is saying, I read somewhere that Matthew Lillard expressed some concern about the success or quality of Scream 7 today. He has. And again, I love Matthew Lillard before I say this, but I did kind of criticize him for that. It sounds a lot like the way that they were talking about Halloween Ends, where, you had people like John Carpenter coming out and saying like, oh, it's a weird one, and saying things like that. And it's like, dude, don't say that before a movie. Like, that kills any momentum for a film if you start showing some sort of worry. Have confidence with whatever you made, Like, I don't know. If you start saying things like, oh, I think it's gonna suck, you're putting a preconceived notion inside of somebody's mind. And it's different when some asshole like me comes online and starts making predictions. But when it's people who actually worked on the film, who know how this thing's gonna roll out, it's a different story. So I wish Matthew hadn't said that. That, again, another reason why I'm just concerned. I think the quote was, I'm paraphrasing, but it was close to this, along the lines of, I hope I did the character of Stu Macher justice. I hope I did. It just sounds like, it doesn't sound confident. It sounds like, dude, if whatever Scream 7 is going to be confident with it out the gate. You know what I mean? I don't know. I would rather that. Freddy Does Dallas. Oh man. What a movie. Freddy in Texas would be wild. Taking the nightmare out of Elm Street, baby. I'm here for it. David Primero is saying, imagine the killer is Sydney's daughter and her husband. Maybe they killed Sydney's original husband and real daughter. So they're like, you know how like in Mission Impossible, they have like the latex masks where they just put over their faces. Like they take off the ghost face masks and then they take off these like realistic latex masks. They've just been pretending to be her daughter. Oh my God, that would be wild. That's going to be the Scary Movie 6 twist, I think, is going to be Doofy wearing a Mission Impossible mask. Film Fanatic saying, oh, Freddy versus Leatherface. Dude, you're so right. You're so right. That's what that would be. That's great. I love that. I love that so much. Horror B is saying, I want a trailer with Mindy and Chad in line for popcorn at a stab movie. Oh man, see, now you're trying to kill people off. I see what you're doing there, Horror B. I see what's up. I will say, I think it's already out there how Mindy and Chad are going to be used in the film, and I'm happy with it. I think it's a really cool progression and way of getting them into the story that feels natural, feels organic. That's something that I feel like is a positive so far. I think it's a really, really nice jumping point. That's all I'll say if you don't know what it is. Joe Bomba saying, scream, protect your behind. Go ahead, protect that thing. Jacob Wells is saying, did you see the idea of Scream 7, the plot I sent you, Jake? It's Stu as Darth Vader with the plot having a Terrifier. What? He's got a lightsaber and it's like, no, I am your father to Sydney or something. I don't know. Man, when lightsabers get involved and when we go to space and in Scream, that might be when it's time to throw in the towel. But maybe that's just me. EN is saying, I think Matthew meant this about his performance as Stu, not so much about the quality of the script, hopefully. I mean, in both cases, it doesn't breed confidence. You know what I mean? I just feel like if you're promoting a movie, you shouldn't talk about it with doubt. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. To me, that just says, it's almost like I'm not going to say that, but it doesn't instill confidence in me. When I hear stuff like that, I'm just like, oh no, like, why doesn't he like it? Like, that's where my brain goes when someone says something like that. And I already have so many things to worry about when it comes to Scream 7. I don't want the people coming out being like, ugh, I don't know, we'll see what's up. That's where my mind goes when someone says something like that. So I maybe yours doesn't, maybe that's a totally different story, but that's when I hear someone say something like that has like an air of doubt. I get concerned. Michael's also saying, I didn't like those Lillard comments either. It feels like a real old school hating on the new kids. Yeah, him crapping on Scream 6, I can forgive, though. I'll say, if we're talking about that. Here's my thing about that. He doesn't like Scream 6 because they just did so much to disprove the whole Stu is alive thing. And if you're Matthew Lillard, of course you would want Stu to be alive. Are you dude, are you kidding me? That his paycheck for Five Nights at Freddy's must be outrageous. What would it be for him to come back to Scream? Like, how much is he? I'm sure he's getting paid more to be in Scream 7 than he was in the original Scream. Are you kidding me? Of course Matthew wants to come back as Stu. He'll do 7 more movies as Stu Macher. Just like how David Arquette would come back as Dewey Riley 100 more times. I mean, these are fun characters to play too. It's not just about the money. It's also like, I want to come back and play that character. There's so much to do with that. So of course Matthew Lillard is going to hate Scream 6. If I were Matthew Lillard, I would hate Scream 6 too. So I totally understand that. He didn't crap on Scream 5 though, so it sounds like he likes most of the franchise, but just not the movie that's basically like, hey, we're never bringing back Stu. What else is going on here? I only need 9 more super chats and we'll reach our goal. We'll go for another hour. We only got 90 more seconds though, Erica, so that might be a lost cause, but it's all good. I'm glad we got to talk Scream today. So that's fun. Davey Deathray is here, coming finally rested up from his 10-hour Friday stream. He's amazing. We love Davey. Davey saying, hey everyone, happy Tuesday, y'all. Just out of a work meeting and pumped to catch a bit of the stream. Thanks for being with us, Davey. Appreciate you a ton. Thanks for being here. You had a work meeting today? That sucks. That's no fun. Once again, Davey, I just want to say that you're fucking awesome. And I loved that stream that you did for a food bank, which is crazy. I raised a lot of money for that. I was very happy to be a part of it as well. And I commend you, my friend. You're an amazing horror creator, and we're glad to have you. We're glad to have you in this community. So thanks for being with us, dude. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out. And thanks for doing all that you do. Joe Bamba is saying, since Guy is still the writer, I think that's where the doubt comes from. He's not a good writer. I disagree. I think he's a great writer. He just, when it comes to Scream is a tough franchise to continue and write. I mean, this is a murder mystery series that has to build off of what came before it. I think that any Scream story written by anybody is going to be a challenge, no matter who's in the driver's seat with that. If Scream were able to, start fresh with a new film, I think it would be way easier to pull the wool over your eyes if you didn't have characters coming back from the past. I mean, we already have 4 or 5 characters that are dropping into Scream 7 that we know aren't going to be Ghostface, because it just wouldn't make any sense. There's just no way Gail Weathers or Sidney Prescott, or I also think we can basically clear Sydney's family. You're not gonna, there's no way you're gonna be able to tell a Sydney story where her family is Ghostface, that she's been living with her like majority of her adult life now. I don't buy it. I'm sorry. So I feel like a lot of these characters, there's no way they're Ghostface, and you have to get around the fact that your audience probably knows that already. So these are tough movies to write. I also think that Guy Busick's best writing is without a doubt Abigail and Ready or Not, where these movies, a common criticism of Guy is people don't like his characters. If you've seen all of Guy Busick's work, you know that's like one of his strong suits, man. I mean, the characters in Abigail and Ready or Not, in my opinion, and maybe you disagree, but that's the strongest parts of Ready or Not and Abigail is the characters. I feel like the problem with Scream is that when we are trying to work in these new characters, we have to make room for the legacy characters to come in, and vice versa. Scream 5 and Scream 6 had that problem of there was just too many characters, there was too much going on, and there wasn't enough time to really get into these people. There's entire sequences, however, in both Abigail and Ready or Not that just focus on getting to know the characters. There's a fucking brilliant scene in Abigail, which I think is absolutely Guy Busick's best writing that he's ever done, where it's literally just going through all the different characters who are a part of this scheme, and you get a little taste of why they're there and why they're doing this. And it's genius. I mean, I was floored. I was so engaged with the movie after that. The opening scene's good, but that scene, oh man, that's the moment that I am propelled into Abigail. I'm just like, let's go. Let's rock and roll, baby. Let's make this happen. So I don't know. I think that a lot of people don't like Guy's writing for one reason or the other. But for me, after seeing all the other things he's done too, Final Destination Bloodlines being another very big hit from him, where I think the characters are another very strong suit. I don't know who to credit for that, as there are many writers on that film, but I feel like it's him. Just seeing Abigail, seeing Ready or Not, his character writing's phenomenal, in my humble opinion. But again, many disagree, and many people did not like the characters in Screams 5 and 6. I also, another weird complaint that I don't know if I agree with or not, but it is something that I hear quite a bit about Screams 5 and 6. People felt the characters were too young, or were annoying, and it was annoying that they were young people. And I'm just like, that's kind of Scream's whole thing, though, as we relate to, it's a series for young adults in reality. We have, the legacy characters, the legacy cast being a part of it as well, but like, Scream movies, they're gonna make 100 more Scream movies probably, and I feel like they're always going to cater to young adults in some way, shape, or form. Like that's just always going to be a part of it. So I don't know. I feel like I hear a lot of criticisms about Scream that just I don't want to say it's unfair, but it's just like that's, of course Scream is going to do that. Scream is of course always going to cater to the young crowd. That's why that original movie was so successful, is because it was relatable. There were so many movies in the early 90s, slasher flicks in particular, that were not relatable. And then Scream comes out and it's like, oh no, we get what the kids are talking about in school. And I know that sounds so cringe, but it's like, that was why that movie blew up. Like teenagers fucking loved it. It was horror. It was like, oh, this is cool again. I like it. This is hip now. I'm not making a very good case for this, am I? But that was a very big part of why Scream was so popular in the first place. I think that's totally why they're always going to cater to the younger crowd. Find some new fans, find some, introduce a whole new generation to Scream. It worked back in the 90s. Why wouldn't it work now? And Screams 5 and 6, love them or hate them, they were crazy successful at the box office. Scream 7 will be no different. Even if this movie sucks, even if it's a flaming pile of crap, it's going to make a ton of money. The new generation has been reintroduced to Scream again, and we're loving it. We're vibing with it so far. So, Romello is saying, isn't it hyperbole that Stu somehow being alive would ruin the franchise? I mean, ruin seems like a big word. What is a Scream movie without a reveal? Let me ask you that, Romello. What is a Scream movie without a new killer reveal? Is it even a Scream movie? And on top of that, if that movie came out and it was unbelievably successful, which it would be because it would put butts in seats, why would we go back to the old formula? That's why I think it would ruin the franchise. Because if Stu comes back, if they bring him back, that movie's going to make $300 million. It's going to be Five Nights at Freddy's big. And then we'll never get a Scream film in the same vein again. It will always be about bringing back a previous killer. It will never be what the Scream format should be, which is introducing a new killer hidden in plain sight to have some big reveal and some sort of new motive. That's what made the original so great. It's a format that could keep this franchise going on and on forever. But to deviate too far from that, which I believe bringing back a dead Ghostface would, no matter who it would be, it's not just the fact that it's Stu, it's the fact that it deviates too far from the formula. It turns Scream into something else. In my humble opinion, it would ruin the franchise. But I've said this before and I'll say it again. I think that now we're in very different circumstances. You guys may not know this, but we recently lost a very good friend who loved Stu and would have loved to have seen him return. And I feel like now, if this does happen, which is a possibility, Matthew Lillard is in the cast, I can't be upset with it. I'll probably shed a tear, if I'm being honest. So rest in peace to my good buddy Steven from Craven Something Scary. I know he would have probably loved this movie, whatever it would have ended up being, and I'm probably going to love it too. I'm telling you guys this right now. I am going to be very biased in my Scream 7 review. Apologies on that, but it's just it's a movie that is just too near and dear to my heart now at this point. And I know that my buddy Craven's going to be there in spirit with me watching it. So I'll love it if Stu comes back, but I think that in terms of what it will do to this franchise, it will have a negative impact. That's just my prediction as somebody who has seen the Scream movies hundreds of times, studied them for this page to make a ton of crazy videos and stuff. I'm just like, what works about these movies? It's the fact that we have a murder mystery, a new killer every single time. That is one of the many things that I feel just has to happen to make a Scream movie. And Stu coming back to life, it's not a reveal. It's just the fact that Stu's been alive this whole time. That deviates too far from the formula, in my humble opinion. And you may disagree, and that's totally fine. I know a lot of people do. But I think what that would do to the franchise is that would tell the studio, hey, people don't want the old format anymore. They don't want new stars. They just want you to bring back old killers. So all the killers who have already been revealed will come back for 6 more movies, and that'll be the whole franchise. And that's what the franchise will be from now on. And that's not Scream, in my humble opinion. So I don't think it's hyperbole. I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that if a dead killer in general comes back, it will kill the franchise. It'll turn Scream. Maybe it won't kill the franchise, but it'll turn the franchise into something else that it isn't currently. I would rather get a shitty reveal like in Scream 6 rather than see a dead killer come back to life, because that's not Scream. That's deviating from the formula. I'd rather see a bad Scream movie than something that is mimicking a Scream movie, because what we're pitching, I feel like, isn't even Scream at that point. So that's my humble opinion. Again, you may disagree, but that's a stance I just don't see myself really shifting on. I don't know. You couldn't do a Scream movie without a killer reveal. You can't do it. It wouldn't be Scream. Davey Death Ray saying food banks are hurting extra now with all the SNAP stuff going. And Davey, that's another reason why I really appreciate you doing that right now. It is a dark times, and you're making a difference where you can. And I also want to point this out. Davey raised $776, which is awesome, which will provide 3,880 meals to folks who desperately need it right now. And the site is still open for anyone who would like to contribute. Yeah, guys, if you go over to Davey's page, if you're able to contribute to that would be awesome. Again, we are heading into November. A lot of people are going to lose their SNAP benefits because the government is shut down right now. And if we could make some sort of difference, no matter how small or big, even, 3,880 meals, that's insane, dude. That's nuts. So if we can make some sort of difference right now, I feel like the community, people just in America, we got to just be helping each other right now. We got to show empathy. We got to support our neighbors, because otherwise what the fuck is going to happen? Where some of us are going to go without food during the month of November. That's terrifying. So look out for your neighbor, look out for your friends and family, and maybe even other people beyond that. I would highly encourage you to support a food bank right now if you can. Even if not Davies, maybe you have a local food bank that you know of. Make that happen if you can in some way, shape, or form. So I just can't stress it enough. It's dark days right now, and hopefully we can push past all this. Davey, again, I commend you for doing that 10-hour stream, man. Listen, I lose my voice after doing this for 2 hours, and you did it for 10. That's unbelievably impressive, and I just have nothing but the utmost respect for you, my friend. You're gonna have to come on the page sometime. Go subscribe to Davey Deathray. He fucking deserves it. Anyways, getting back to some Scream talk here. Tadam is saying at least 5 and 6 introduced some new blood, aka the core 4. That's something whether you like them or not. And I agree that, I'm going to be honest. Do I like Sam Carpenter more than I like Sidney Prescott? No, but I still am glad we tried out a new character. It's cool. It's fun. It's something different. It's something else to chew on, something else to talk about. And I feel like that Scream inherently should be a conversation starter as a film. You know what I mean? And these are the things I'm fascinated in. Where else can the franchise go? Murder mysteries can go on forever. They're infinite. I feel you can just keep coming up with reasons why people would want to kill people. And it's shocking that this franchise would want to repeat something. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there has been so many ideas that have been done really well in the series. Why not try something else out? Why not go down a different path with these same characters? So that's why I'm always pushing for something new, because I think it's just way more interesting, lends itself to a better story, something we haven't already seen before. If I want to watch the original Scream, I'll put that on. If I want to watch Scream 2, I'll put that. I got it on my shelf. I think most of you do too. So I don't know. I don't want to see the same movie again. I want to see them try something else out. Try out some new ideas. What's going on here? How creative and original can a writer get with a franchise like Scream after 6 installments? And that is the golden question to Damn. That's really the big question as to what can this franchise do moving forward. I think that's why it would just be easiest if we started fresh. The other thing too about the Stu thing is that if you wanted to bring him back, if you wanted to make it some sort of like inherently part of the story, I think you still could do that. You would just have to set up the franchise a little differently. I think just do like a Halloween 2018 style reboot where it's just a direct continuation to the original. Say Stu lived through that and they treat him like a Hannibal Lecter the entire time. They're visiting him in prison, asking him for questions and clues about who the new Ghostface could be. That's how you do it, in my opinion. Stu, my other thing about Stu is a lot of people are like, oh, he would be a mastermind. He would be running all the ghost faces. No, that's just so not who we've only seen Stu in one movie. And what the character attributes that were displayed were he was the sidekick to Billy Loomis. If it was Billy Loomis we were talking about still being alive, I could buy into that theory, but he's not a cult leader. He's a follower. He got peer pressured into doing it. I don't see him running some sort of secret Ghostface cult behind the scenes. I could see him being in prison and being asked about what the new Ghostface was up to and trying to find a way out, try to make some bargains so that he can fulfill some sort of escape plan. That I could get into. And that could lead to him becoming some sort of cult leader through some sort of, cause and effect. But right now we just don't have that with the character. That's just not set up. So I'm not even totally against a character coming back from the dead. It's just the way it's always been pitched to me, the way that I feel like it would be handled would be just kind of rough. And I just don't know if it would just make a whole lot of sense. I want a murder mystery and a big reveal at the end of a Scream movie. It's a must, baby. We got to have that. And if we don't, I don't even know if it's Scream. Think about all the movies that have mimicked Scream. Think about the things that they always do. And when you're watching a new Hard Eyes, for example, Hard Eyes, I Know What You Did Last Summer. They're all murder mysteries. You know what I mean? They might not have horror commentary, so to say. Maybe they get a little meta or a little campy. But what's the one consistency? They always have a murder mystery. Hard Eyes, I would say, is a Scream inspired slasher for that reason. If you don't have if there's not a new character running around who's, oh my God, it's them. It was them who's the killer. It's not Scream, man. Ty is saying it seems like they're not trying to be creative. They're just milking nostalgia and fan service. And I think that's what I'm worried about. That's why I want to see some footage so bad. Because I want to see, like, there's a new murder mystery. There's some new killers running around. But also with the, you know, Scott Foley's back as Roman. Matthew Lillard's back as Stu. David Arquette's back. It worries me that this is going to just be fan service, the movie. And we just got that with the Minecraft movie. And I'm good. You know, we've done enough fan service-y movies. Just give me some good new stories. If you want to service fans, tell fresh, inventive stories in these age-old franchises. Predator Badlands is doing this really well. You can tell from the marketing, man. Maybe that movie sucks, but just from the marketing alone, I can tell you that this is something really fresh that the franchise hasn't stepped into. And it's like a wet dream for fans of Predator and that whole series. I love the idea of there's no humans, where there's always been people fighting predators before. Now we're following a predator. Like, that's the main character who we're rooting for. That's a crazy swing for the fences. If it works, if it doesn't, I'm still going to be singing the praises of Predator Badlands. That's a crazy idea. The fact that you're even going for that in the first place, totally here for it. So with any series, any franchise continuation, I just think you have to go for something that could top the original. And you're not going to top the original in Scream, especially if you're just doing the same things that they did in the original Scream. You're not going to make that movie but better. You're not. So you got to try some different ideas. You got to take it down some different angles, and the fans may like it, they may hate it, but you got to try. You know, if they really loved this franchise, they would try to make it something new and something different, I guess is my point. JJ, thank you so much for the $2. Greatly appreciate the support. Sydney and Stu should have ended after the first trilogy. Like, it could have been like Sydney versus Stu the whole time. Well, you know, if that was how the franchise had gone along, then yeah, it would have been something totally different. It would have been a whole different series to begin with. But yeah, I think just where it stands now, you know, Scream has evolved into something else. But I would not, honestly, if they would have done it in Scream 3, you know, Stu was still alive the whole time or something coming after her, I really wouldn't have been against it then. I think it would have made a little more sense. It's just, I just don't feel like that's where the story's going. You know, I don't feel like that's the trajectory of all of this. It doesn't, the other thing too, is I don't see the big picture in keeping it going, a connective tissue between all these movies. I don't feel like it is building up to something. Like, you know, when you watch something like the original Star Wars trilogy, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, it's one big story. Screams 1 through 6 doesn't feel like one big story to me. Screams 1 through 3 kind of feels like a big story, and then 4 feels like a tack on, like an epilogue of sorts. But you can also just watch like 1 and 4, I feel, and you'll probably be fine. You won't really miss anything if you don't see 2 and 3. And then 5 and 6, it also just feels like its own contained story. 7, I don't know. I guess I don't need this franchise to just be one long continuous story. I kind of like the idea that it's episodic. I think it's fun that we have characters that carry through each sequel. But I just feel, I don't know, for me, I feel like Scream can work if it's more episodic. I think it actually lends more to the story. Because again, it is a murder mystery based franchise. That's the series that we've set up here. To make it more episodic, to make it where there's no connective tissue, no clues as to what could be going on in this next film, I think that would paint a better picture for the franchise. We already have a pretty good idea of what's going to happen in Scream 7, I feel. And I don't think we're 100% right, but I feel like we're pretty damn close on a lot of things. Isn't that kind of shooting yourself in the foot a little bit when it comes to a murder mystery movie? You know, like, it should be surprising. We shouldn't have everything already figured out, I feel. So I don't know. It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing. I am still excited though. So Tyler Weddle, are we actually going to talk about Scream? Dude, I've been ranting about Scream for like the last 20 minutes. I don't know how else I could possibly talk more about Scream. JJ, thank you for the $2. You're also saying I'm missing Steven. I am too. It feels wrong covering all this without him, if I'm being honest. I miss him to death. So that's the other thing too. I feel very strongly about my opinion about Scream, but I'm very open-minded to everything. I have been shocked by ideas I didn't think I would like in this franchise that ended up really working for me in some of these new installments. So, you know, just because I have my stupid opinions and my takes, doesn't mean I'm not open to something weird that I don't think will work to work. I think that anything can work if you approach it the right way with the right execution. So that's why I'm not totally against the Stumacher theories. There's a way that you can do it. Just it's got to build off of what came before. Cause and effect is so important with good storytelling, I feel. It's something that I think some storytellers don't understand too well, and it's important. Like what came before has to affect what happens next. And if it doesn't, then you don't really have a story. You just have a series of events, and that is a different thing in my opinion. But I'm missing Steven. I'm missing his Stew Train talk, and I don't know. I miss my good friend. Weird doing the Lethal Collective streams without him either. But JJ, again, thank you so much for supporting the page. Really does mean a lot. Ian is saying, I miss the feeling of being shocked with the reveal, just like the one in 4. We need that kind of shock value. The last time I feel like I was really shocked by a reveal was Amber shooting Liv in the face. That was awesome. I live for that moment in the theater. I also will say I think the opening scene of Scream 6 was shocking, but not in like the conventional sense. You know, I'm kind of craving like a conventional Scream shock where mask comes off and it's like, what? As much as I love the opening scene of Scream 6, I think I value that a little more because it's harder to pull off. You know, like it's really hard at this point to throw me off the scent of whoever the killer is. Thanksgiving was probably the last movie to do that really well, for me at least. I had everybody figured out in Scream 6. I don't know. I wasn't really, I was like, yeah, of course it's them, you know? Thanksgiving got me with the killers. I was way too invested. Like, it's such a trope for one of the boyfriends to be the killer and they're fighting the whole time. I'm just like, dog, it's got to be one of them. You know, there's no way. I was really dead set on that. I was pretty shocked by the ending of Thanksgiving. Like, that was awesome. Really thought that was cool. I also went into that movie after seeing Scream 6 and I was just like, there's no way it's going to be the cops again. You know, it's a spyglass slasher. There's no way. And then I was like, well, shit, here we are. What do you know? And then Hard Eyes, it's the same. It's like, what? I went into that movie also thinking that. I'm like, okay, they're not going to do the cops in 3 spyglass slasher movies in a row. And then, well, what do you know? So crazy stuff, man. Crazy consistencies from all 3 of those movies. It's wild. Carl Childress Jr. saying, finally caught alive. I'm sorry, you're not Carl, you're Carrie. I'm so dumb. I can't read. I need new glasses. Hey, thank you for hanging out with us, my good friend. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you a ton. What are your thoughts on Scream 7? Are you excited for the trailer dropping this Thursday? Let me know down in the chats. I'm excited. I can't wait to see it. Excited for some for something good. EN is saying, speaking of Scream 4, I would like to state that Charlie is a really underrated killer. He was a real savage and had some brutal killings, but justified. Justified? I don't know if he was justified, but Jill stole the spotlight by the end. Jill's reveal is probably my favorite killer reveal in the whole franchise. I love it. It's so cold, so brutal. It's great. Scream 4 is my favorite sequel. Major banger. We were talking about favorite Scream kills the other night, and my personal favorite, I think, is Olivia's from Scream 4. That whole sequence, that's exactly what I want from a good Scream kill. I want a good phone call leading up to it. I want some misdirection and some shock. You think it's going to happen in that house, but then it's in the house over. And then Olivia gets absolutely massacred. Just blood, the knife going through the hand. It's great. There's no notes. No notes. It's perfect. It's exactly what I want from a good Scream kill. I love it. Olivia's death in Scream 4 is one for the record books, baby. And that's Charlie right there. That's Charlie, man. So underrated, I'll give you that. Okay, yeah. Rock on. He gets some good kills. He's crazy. Tadam is saying it all depends on how they will sell it. This is true. It does depend on how they're going to approach it, right? Because if they don't again, anything comes down to execution. Final Destination Bloodlines, I brought this movie up a lot when talking about Scream, because Scream 7, while it did go through a bunch of rewrites, I think it still can be great. Final Destination Bloodlines went through the same thing. Went through a ton of different rewrites. They threw a bunch of new people at it. You could even argue that, no, you couldn't. It's not a crazier behind the scenes situation, but at least they didn't throw new writers in the midst of, Scream 7's whole thing. That would have been a disaster. Thank God it was at least the same people. That's a crazy story. But with Final Destination Bloodlines, I was really going into it with some not so great thoughts because they threw like Guy Busick and who was it, John Watts? There's a third writer in there on top of Laurie Evans Taylor to rewrite the whole script from the ground up. Like it was going to be this first responders like pandemic movie, and that now it turned into what it is. And it's great. It's great because of that. So, I mean, good things can come from rewrites. It's just oftentimes you don't get that lightning in a bottle that Final Destination Bloodlines was. That doesn't happen all the time. But when it does, when you do get that, when you get that that holy shit, I can't believe this all worked, it's amazing. And hey, maybe it does happen with Scream 7 here. That would be awesome. I'm keeping the faith alive that this is this is an underdog story. This is going to be Rocky 2, not Rocky 1. You know what I'm saying? Like, catch my drift. Spoilers, I guess. But yeah, I'm keeping the faith alive, man. Scream is oddly always I think it always succeeds when it's under pressure, though, historically. Like, this is not a franchise that is new to production issues. They've always had some crazy shit going on behind the scenes. And I feel like even though some of the sequels are flawed, like Scream 3 especially, there's still something to love about that movie. I've come back to it many, many times, and I'm like, this is a really fun movie, and it still has something really interesting to say. So I think that even when Scream is under pressure like that, they still find a way to churn out a good product. I have faith that Scream 7 is still going to be good. I don't think it's going to be dog shit. I definitely don't think that. Will it be the best sequel? No. Did it maybe have the potential to do that at one point? Sure. But I think it's still going to be really solid, and I'm still definitely excited to see it. But my expectations are like, this is probably going to be in the middle of my rankings, realistically. Luke Kai is saying, Jake, what do you think Scream 7's opening scene will be, and how is an opening scene important to set the film? It is very important in setting the tone of the film. I think that Scream 4, love it or hate it, that opening scene, I think it does set the tone really nicely for what that movie's overall commentary is. It catches you up to speed with the last decade, I should say, and all the different flavors of horror that came through that time period. Gives you a little, criticisms, maybe what Kevin Williamson was thinking about all those different periods of horror. And now here we are in the remake. We're talking about like the modern day remakes of classics, which was such a big thing from like 2003 to maybe 2015. I love that. I love that about Scream 4. That's such a big commentary element. And you can even look at the film as like, here is what the shitty remake of the original Scream would have been. A lot of the new characters resemble the original characters from the first movie. If it's Rebecca is Gail, it's Jill as Sydney, Trevor as Billy, so on and so forth. You can go through the whole list. Kirby is basically your Randy. All these characters represent characters from the past in some way, shape, or form. And I think the really interesting thing to me about Scream 4 is that it is basically Wes Craven being punk rock, saying like, this is what you guys would have done to my film if I hadn't approached a new sequel. This would have been the crappy remake of Scream from the 2000s that were, nowhere near, in his opinion, nowhere near as good as their originals. And I think a lot of that anger stems from the fact that Nightmare on Elm Street 2010 was not really not, handled very well in terms of creative direction and story, whatnot. And Wes Craven clearly was not a fan. So to me, it feels like Wes Craven's punk rock way of saying like, this is what y'all would have done to my film. And turned out a good product for that reason, because it's meta. It has something to say. Scream is, again, at its best when it's punk rock, and I feel like that's another thing we've kind of lost in 5 and 6. Like, it feels like these are very studio movies. I think that's another thing that people don't like about 5 and 6. There's a lot of things I can get into, and they are trying some new stuff, which is cool, but like, I'm not feeling that anger. I'm not feeling that like, hey, things should be like this in the world of horror. You know what I mean? I'm not feeling that tenacity that Screams 1 through 4 has. And I think that's to me the big difference between 1 through 4 and 5 and 6. There's no anger. there needs to be some pissed off energy, man. Horror B is saying Scream 2, we were originally supposed to have Holly and Derek as the killers, much happier with Mrs. Loomis and Mickey. I would have loved to have seen that, though. That would have been kind of interesting. I think Holly Haley. I always forget how to pronounce her name. I've always felt like she was such an underdeveloped character in Scream 2. I would have liked to have seen more from her. She doesn't get a very interesting death, and I don't know. She's just kind of there. Like I would have loved to see more from that actress, from that role. So I don't know. I could have gotten into her being a killer. Mickey is probably my all-time favorite Ghostface killer, though. I love Mickey. I needed more of Mickey. I could do 7 movies with Mickey, but that's, I'm kidding. But anyways, Kyle Gordon is saying, Jake, good afternoon, bud. Do you really think that the teaser trailer will drop on Thursday? I think yes. I'm speculating, so take it with a grain of salt. That's what I'm going to say. Big thing there is I think that we're finally in that range, that proximity close enough to The Running Man where a trailer could drop online and then we'll play before that film. I think that biggest thing there is I know the trailer for Scream 7 is going to play before that movie. It is the R-rated film that comes out a little more than 3 months before Scream 7 comes out. And it's just like, of course Paramount is going to advertise their next R-rated film, horror adjacent or not, with this movie. You know, that just makes sense. It's a chain reaction thing. It's like, hey, you saw this one, here's the next one that's coming up. You know, spend your money on that too, please. It's a studio's job. That's the marketing team's job, essentially. So of course they're going to market it with The Running Man. We will definitely get the trailer before that movie drops on November 14th. Will it be this Thursday? Maybe. It sounds like a lot of different sources are saying yes to that. A lot of, the people that I know that I trust are also saying that too. They have some sort of information. I don't know what, but sounds like it's probably going to be dropping this Thursday, which is exciting stuff. And I will be covering the heck out of it. I'll have a big breakdown video probably that day. I'll probably be doing a stream. It's going to be a lot of fun. How long do I think it'll be and what will it show? Have a good night. Thank you for being here, Kyle. Our resident fluffy penguin. I think that, how long will it be? I think it's probably going to just be like a teaser. It's my guess. Probably like a minute to like 60 to 90 seconds. Probably going to be the initial little teaser. It's what we got for, Scream 6 and Scream 5. We got like little tastes of something first. And then then the big thing came like a month later. So I think it's going to be something short to start. We'll get something little more later on. I could see it being just like a single scene, just like how we did with Scream 6. Like it was just a tease at the subway sequence in that film. That's all it was. That first teaser for Scream 6. Again, don't fix it if it ain't broke. Scream 6 made a ton of money. Do the exact same thing, but maybe even bigger. And it seems like that might be the case too. We're 4 months out. I think to the day, right? Or from yesterday. Yeah. From yesterday. We were 4 months yesterday out from the film. So do the Scream 6 marketing, but bigger, and you're going to make even more money. That makes sense on paper. So I think if they approach it that way, they're going to be fine. This franchise is going to continue to be successful, and people are going to show up in February, man. What do I want it to show? Yeah, just a single sequence, just like a single chase from the movie, just kind of showcase that. I feel like Final Destination 6 did that too really well. You know what I mean? Like Final Destination 6 had that opening, like that one teaser where it was just Eric in the tattoo parlor, and the whole place caught flame. That was great. And hey, that led to success. There's clearly a recipe for success here that works with modern day marketing, which is not an easy thing to do. So I'm really hoping that they just do it the same way. Don't fix it if it ain't broke. Carrie is saying, I wonder if they will use the original ideas for FD6 for part 7. They might. One of the things that we know about is that the opening scene was supposed to be on like a boat, like a big paddle boat, and it was supposed to go down and, catch flames and all that. I wonder if they recycle that for part 7. We have a cruise ship or something, and some kind of boat just in general as our opening sequence that goes down. There's a scene in one of the Final Destination novels where a little cigarette boat drives into like a big yacht and it blows up. Like that's the premonition. And I'm like, dude, that would be awesome. They should totally yank that. You can't tell me they didn't yank. There's an elevator scene in Final Destination Bloodlines. Dude, it's almost the same thing as something in one of the novels. You can't tell me they didn't yank that from there. There's a lot of good stuff in the novels. Put that to the screen. Who cares? We've never seen that live action. Make it happen. Run it. That'd be fun. So I'm definitely here for that. Horror B is saying Scream 2, we were originally supposed... I read that already. Never mind. I'm wrong. Did a bunch of chats get deleted or something? What is going on here? I swear to God, I just read all of these. I don't know what's happening. I'm sorry. I think I'm going crazy, fellas. Erica's got to get going. She's driving. All good. We'll have fun on the gaming stream later. It's going to be a good time. Thanks for being here. Today I'm saying I wouldn't completely rule out Salmon or Tara returning in Scream 8, especially the latter. I mean, maybe Jenna Ortega's she's like an A-lister now, man. She doesn't need the money. She'll be fine doing Wednesday season 3 or whatever, and some crazy artsy projects. But I don't know. I mean, it's not totally out of the realm of possibility for her to come back. I wouldn't bet on Melissa Barrera though. I would love to see that happen. You know, I love the core 4, and I feel like there's still more story with these characters, which is nice. But I don't see it happening as long as Spyglass has those rights. Maybe one day in the future, though, they'll make another one with them in it. That would be fun. I would totally be down to watch it. EN is saying, isn't it suspicious that Sid's husband's last name is Evans, just like Maureen Evans in Scream 2? I wonder if that's a reference or not. You know, I wonder where that comes from. So obviously Mark was supposed to be Mark Kincaid. That was, again, just been proven by everything Patrick Dempsey has said about potentially being involved, but unfortunately his house burnt down in those LA fires, which is a major shame and shock. That totally sucks. So he was while that was happening is when he was supposed to come to set and film for Scream 7. So it didn't happen. Couldn't make that happen. So now we have Joel McHale playing, Sydney's husband. It's a weird choice. I gotta admit, Joel McHale in my mind is like the goofy jerk in a lot of TV shows and movies. So it's just like, it's an odd choice for someone who's supposed to be the loving and trusting husband of Sidney Prescott. I really hope that chemistry works. I think that's going to make or break this Sidney performance. You know, Sidney is a character you got to handle very carefully at this point. There's just so many facets to the character that have to be upheld from, where we came from previously with the character. And one of those things is she's not very trusting of partners. And does that make sense? Of course you got to have that with the character. I mean, my God, she, her first, like your boyfriend in high school tried to kill her. Derek died in a really awful way. She's got a lot of trauma when it comes to lovers in one way, shape, or form. So if you're going to have Sidney be with somebody, it's got to be somebody who can pull off trusting and loving. And Joel McHale, oh man, I don't know if he's the guy for that, but we'll see. We'll see if he can do it. And I believe in actors, taking different roles on and doing them really well. And hopefully he can rock this out. That would be great. When I see Joel McHale, I think of the douchebag boss in Ted. You know what I mean? So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to convince me of that. But can he slip into a totally different role here? Hopefully that's the case. I would have casted I'm trying to think of somebody who just has like such a warm face, like a Sean Astin. You know what I mean? Like Sean Astin is that guy that comes to mind when I'm just like, who's somebody that I trust? Samwise Gamgee. You know what I mean? Like that kind of character. Someone along those, like a Sean Astin style actor, character, whatever. Someone who just has like a trustworthy, like Bob from Stranger Things is such a good example of somebody who would be with a Sidney Prescott in real life. Someone who is, non-confrontational, someone who is loving and trusting. Like it's got to be somebody like that. Can Joel McHale pull that off? I hope so. I really do. But again, my experience with that actor is his just douchebaggery kind of characters who are condescending and assholes and not trustworthy, not trustworthy people. So that's why, again, just made me scratch my head a little bit with that casting decision. Horror B is saying a cruise ship would be amazing for Final Destination after that Poop Cruise documentary. Oh my God, dude. We were losing our minds watching the Poop Cruise documentary. My fiance and I just loved, we were kind of losing our minds laughing at that. There's a scene in that documentary where someone's like, we were pooping in ways that we made it look like lasagna. Dude, we were watching this at like 2 a.m, by the way, when we were at GullGotha this past summer. And I just remember we had to go to bed. We had to get up for the con the next morning. And I'm like, I can't stop watching this. This is ridiculous. Poop lasagna? I'm sold. This is great. So I loved that documentary. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, Final Destination should totally do something along those lines. That would be fun. That would be really cool. Maybe they're all stuck on the cruise too. Like maybe something like there's a blow up on the front of the ship or something. And then the rest of the movie is they're just like trapped there. That could be cool. An isolation Final Destination, that would be kind of different. Not only, can they not prevent they have to find a way to prevent their own deaths, but they also have to like get off of this ship and not, starve to death. I don't know. That's kind of interesting. That's cool to me. I'd be very into that. Tiffany is saying, I think Joel McHale's experience as being a game show host will help. What's he a game show host on? Why do I not know that? I also love him in Crime Scene Kitchen as well, the 1% Club. He was the Swarm, but is allowed to be sweet as well. Oh, I read that wrong. He has that smorm, but is he allowed to be sweet as well? He's like, here's my thing. The only role I've seen him in where he was trying to be sweet, for me, didn't really work. And again, maybe that's just because it's Joel McHale, but It's a Wonderful Knife is the only movie I've seen where I've seen him play like a loving husband. And it just, I don't know, there's a specific moment in that film that doesn't work for me. And I won't say what it is if you haven't seen it. I feel like that's a lesser seen movie, and it's a really good one to put on during Christmas time. I have my critiques of it, but it is still a very fun like Christmas or holiday horror movie, My critiques all come from Joel McHale though. Like a lot of the stuff with him does not work for me. But again, who's to say it won't work here in Scream 7? I don't know. I'm just talking about what happened in other movies and how I felt about it. But Joe Bamba is saying Joel will pull off the Heath Ledger shock of a lifetime performance. Don't say that. That's my thing though. I can't see Sidney Prescott's family members being Ghostface. Like she's been married to this guy for years, like long enough to have essentially a 17 or 18-year-old daughter, but but then he's Ghostface. Like I don't know, man. We got to have some sort of logical reason that this person would go and start killing people, right? I don't buy that. I don't know. I think Sidney Prescott's smart enough to spot something like that. Ty Lee is saying all those complaints about It's a Wonderful Knife we could have overlooked if the kills were on point. I don't hate, not all the kills. You're right. No, I agree with you there. There's one really fantastic sequence though in It's a Wonderful Knife where there's some like crazy metal Christmas music, and you have that like the killer design is another thing that really wins me over to It's a Wonderful Knife. I love the angel look. I think it's super creepy. All white and being able to get covered in blood. Like there is a lot to love about that movie, but I do agree. I think that I could have looked past some of the stuff if maybe more of the kills were better, but there's a few in there. There's a few in there that's cool. But yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that. Tiffany saying, sorry, I meant smarmy, but sweet when he hosts. You're all good. I understood. I was picking up what you were putting down, Tiffany. No worries. I agree. I like that word, by the way, smarmy. A few more chats, and I think we're gonna get off here. I just love talking Scream. It's always fun. Kari is saying, I feel like Jada Pinkett Smith's character opening death from Scream 2 is hardly mentioned anymore. Would be cool to see maybe her family or some kind of reference to her. That would be fun. I would love maybe like a stab premiere. I mean, I almost feel like the ending of Scream 6 is a reference to that, right? Like, because we're in a big theater and there's kind of a stab movie playing on the TV. It's a stab fan film from Richie Kirsch, but it's cool. It's fun. Joel McHale Community is what you think about. Yeah, Joel McHale, like he's a womanizer. Jeff Winger is a womanizer and not necessarily a good person. He goes through some different arcs and stuff in that show, but I also just feel like he's meant to not be someone you're rooting for necessarily. And he plays that role so well. It's hard for me to not see him do that. So that was why, like, when that casting announcement came out, I was just like, what? Sidney Prescott's husband is Jeff Winger. I'm just like, man, I don't know. I really hope it works though, man, because I feel like I'm going to go so far as to say, like, I feel like the whole movie hinges on Sidney's relationships, like with not only with her husband, but also with her daughter. Like it's going to be kind of all about that, right? It's gotta be like, what else could this movie be about opposed to what her family life is like? So I really hope these things work. I really hope there's chemistry there. And there's a lot of interesting things happening between mother and daughter. Like, I feel like that's where this movie is going to thrive in terms of character work. And I really hope that lands, man, but I'm concerned. I have no worries about Sydney's daughter, Isabel May. I think she's an excellent actress. I've seen her in other stuff and she can totally pull it off. I also think it's great casting. She looks like a young Neve Campbell. Like I've seen, I sound so creepy. I've seen a few pictures of her. I don't like that. I don't like the way I worded that, but she very much so has like a very similar look to Neve Campbell. So I feel like she could totally, not only that, but she's a great performer as well. I feel like she could, she's really going to pull this off. I feel like a big shining spot of this movie is going to be Sydney's daughter. So in terms of positives, Isabel May is great casting. I may not be crazy about the whole Joel McHale thing, but in terms of if this movie focuses more on mother and daughter, it's going to win me over. I think if that's more so what this movie is about, which I really think it is. I don't think this movie has anything to worry about. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. I think Joel McHale's going to die in this movie too. If I had to predict, I really don't think he's living through this one. I think he's a goner. I think it's going to be the mother and daughter combo are going to come out on top, suffering some loss though, of course. I think they're going to try to make us feel for Joel McHale. Is that going to work though? That's the question. If I had to predict, I think that's going to be a criticism I have of the film. But I think that a strong suit is going to be the mother-daughter relationship between Tatum and Sydney. So that's what I'm thinking is going to work. I think we're going to have a brand new character that we're going to love with Isabel May here. And I don't know how we're going to feel about Joel McHale. I don't know yet. If it works though, you're cooking. You're cooking with hot oil, baby. You're frying up some good old nasty Ghostface pancakes, baby. Flip them on the... Why are we cooking pancakes in oil? I don't know, but don't worry about it. I would love that. That would be awesome. David Primero is saying you never know Sydney's husband, Mark Evans, drugs her thinking she is her husband, but really her husband is Mark Kincaid. This would lead to Patrick Dempsey's comeback. Well, you could also kill off Mark Evans. And then, well, we know Sydney's type now. She likes Marks. So who knows? Maybe Mark Kincaid's just doing a little stroll through the park one day and is just like, ooh, I really like those cherry blossoms, Sydney Prescott. How you doing? You know, I don't know. I'm really channeling Halloween Ends with the cherry blossoms thing there. Do we know anything about Ethan Embry's character yet? What we know about Ethan Embry, rumor has it is that he's somebody working at that like psychiatric hospital, which is supposedly a big set piece in this movie. We got to see a picture of it a little earlier on in the year. I don't know. I really don't know what they're going to do with Ethan Embry. I believe the rumor mill a little more these days, just because I feel like since this is our third go around with a new Scream film, it's a little like we have some things figured out. That's all I'll say. But I tend to believe more of the stuff coming from the rumor mill these days. But the Ethan Embry stuff, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure about. There hasn't been a whole lot of talk about that. So it's either like a really small scene or, who knows. So I don't know. I'm not 100%. I think that he's probably going to be some sort of character at the psychiatric hospital, though. It doesn't seem like he's a big character. He's a smaller part of it, though. Just like Mark Consuelos. Like Mark Consuelos and Ethan Embry came on later on during the production phase, so I'm guessing they were like smaller roles here. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm probably going to be signing off. But guys, I really do appreciate y'all talking Scream 7 with me. I'm really excited for this trailer that is dropping this Thursday. It is going to be a ton of fun talking about that later on in the week. Guys, we have streams pretty much every day for the rest of the week. Stop on by. It's going to be a crazy end to October. Again, thank you so much for your support. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Thanks for talking Scream. And as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.